All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, everybody out there, folks tuning in to the radio. If you're driving around in Richmond right now, if you're on the live stream here with the Hounds or Friends of the Hounds, welcome. Very special show. Super excited to kick this off. Uh, if you don't know who I am, hey, Mike Asherbrander, the proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business, professionally known as the Redneck Connector. And we got a special treat for you. This guy, I remember David Goggins said, talks about the uncommon amongst the uncommon men. I think I found one. So there you go. We're going to bring Bill Forster of CEO Zones up here in a minute. Folks coming in, look, the Hounds are here. Oh my goodness. If you're running around the radio and you can't see this, hey, feel free to go to our YouTube channel, Hounds of Business on YouTube. We're also on LinkedIn, Hounds of Business, Mike Asherbrander, or you can send me a carrier pigeon. I still take those. So we've got, oh, Kevin, big dog Kevin from France, already international. Good to see you, brother. We got Royce Blake, Mr. Radio Voice is in the house. You're going to love this one. Take notes. There's the Hounds ambassador, April Wyatt. And look, LinkedIn user, that has to be Sarah P. Pucho. All right. All right. We're going to start this intro. I can't wait. 30 minutes goes too fast, guys. Hold on.
Looks like your business might be in a bit of a pickle. Don't you worry about a thing. You ain't alone in this. You're just a success story waiting to happen. Trust me on that. Every bump in the road is just an opportunity wearing a clever disguise. Welcome to the Hounds of Business community, where we don't just sit around twiddling our thumbs. Nope. We turn those obstacles into mighty fine stepping stones. This here's a place where high-level entrepreneurs and sharp professionals gather to grow their businesses and mindsets, kind of like how a good old gumbo needs the right ingredients to be something special. Ideas thrive here, and collaborations, well, they're as natural as sweet tea on a hot day. Success, it's a journey, and we're fixing to walk that road right beside you. Now, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn for all the latest tips and insights. We're talking about the kind of wisdom that'll keep you ahead of the game. And while you're at it, head on over to our YouTube channel. We've got ourselves a treasure trove of videos, from expert interviews to webinars, everything you need to stay sharp in this fast-moving world of business. The Hounds of Business community? Well, we ain't just a network, we're a movement. So why not come on and be part of something bigger? Join us today and let's turn your business journey into a real Southern success story. Together, we'll achieve greatness, just like crawfish and singing on a Friday night.
Crawfish and singing on a Friday night. Bill, welcome to the show. Mike King, thank you so much for this platform. Love the way you push your community up, and we're so excited to have Bill Forrester on. How are you today?
I am great, Mike. Thank you so much for having me. Who knows where this will go? Because I'm a redneck in Yankee land, and there you are. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir. And I have to get a shout out. These folks came to see you. All right. So, folks in Richmond, hey, join in on the Hounds of Business, guys. I want you to see the theatrics, not just hear it. All right. So we've got folks piling in. Look, even CEO Zones is here. Wow. All right. I'm going to try to multitask. We all know how that goes. But Bill, you have a very accomplished resume and a very just interesting life, in my opinion. So let's start back to the beginning, right? So your journey from the U.S. Army, Air Force, right, to all the way to founding CEO Zones, right? What are some of the things in your early career, military and business, that really shaped your leadership and the culture, execution, and optimization framework?
Well, I guess I saw good and bad leadership, and I even modeled good and bad leadership when I was in the Army and then gifted to the Air Force. So I was, if I was paying attention, which I probably missed some lessons along the way, but hopefully one of the things we want to do is learn their mistakes from the others so we don't do them ourselves. I have made plenty of mistakes, though. So I would say it started there. And then probably some of my Boy Scout career. I was a Life Scout in Boy Scouts, didn't make Eagle. My son made Eagle. But I fell in love and been married 49 years now. So I kind of quit Boy Scouts and moved on to having a queen in my life.
Yeah, so it sounds like, commitment is a big deal for you. You're in for the long haul, business, life, friends, relationships. Is that fair assessment?
That's pretty true. One of my faults is loyalty because you can take it too far. So, yep.
Oh, that's another segment. We could, yeah, I learned from the school of hard knocks there. But hey, we learn. That's what I want to take away from this. And I know the folks are excited to hear this because we go through business and we expect perfection, and we think failure is the end. And when folks get to know you and see what you've accomplished, I appreciate you being open about that because failure is part of the process. And if you really learn how to surf on the tsunamis, it can be a great, catalyst to success.
Mm.
So we'll get into that. But I find it interesting. You took the acronym CEO, right, and you broke it down to culture, execution, optimization, trademark, framework. Explain that. Where did that come from, if you don't mind?
Well, working with CEOs and organizations in four different global consulting firms. And as you work with the CEO, it's all about the people. So the people, the behaviors, how people interact with each other, how they treat each other. Thinking of our friend Kevin Smith, how are we kind to each other and kindness worldwide? So that's about C for the culture because the CEO needs to own the culture. That's kind of like tithing at church. You still have the job to be out in the community. You're not paying the pastor to do the job. So with that, culture is all about it. Then execution, making sure everybody in the organization has all the right tools, all the right processes, so they can do great things for the customer. And then optimization is you start it all over again. How can we continuously make it better? So that's kind of the beginnings of where that came from.
Wonderful. And folks in the comments out there, if you're live watching this, hey, tune in, chime in. If you have a question, we'll do our best to get to it. This is your show. I appreciate you taking time out to learn and meet Bill. Wealth of knowledge. Love working with the guy. And reciprocity may be his middle name. So let me correct me if I'm wrong. You became a Chick-fil-A owner and operator at 22 years old. Is that right?
That's right. Yep. Right from while I was still full time in the Air Force. Yep. Yeah. Uh,
Wow. All right. No, I was going to ask a question, but hey, add to that because
Nope, go
that's
right ahead.
impressive.
Fine. I
22. I
call
was
that
like
a divine
40.
appointment, Mike. I call that a divine appointment. My wife and I both had two jobs. I was in the military full time and a part time job. She met Mrs. Kathy, Truett Kathy's wife, who founded Chick fil A at a grand opening of a mall. And the next thing I knew, we were both working. She was full time at Chick fil A, I was working part time. She took a pay cut and worked with kids, and I took a night job. And Mr. Cathy is everything you've ever heard about him is good. That's where I learned the next role model and how to be a CEO. So yes,
That makes perfect sense. You're talking about companies that just kind of do what they say and say what they do. I mean, that's one of the top ones that come to mind. And you're kind of early pioneer because they haven't been around that long, right? I mean, in this grand
uh,
scheme of things, right? So you were kind of early day.
1967. So they were
What was that?
1967. He opened his first two-seat Chick-fil-A in a mall in Atlanta. I met him in 1974 in a mall in Texas. And then we worked on weekends and went around. Our weekend job was this is back before you had e-tickets. So we'd get a DHL Friday afternoon at our house. We'd both come home from our full time jobs, rip that up, and be all excited, young married couple, and say, "Where are we going now?" Because we would literally get that envelope pre cell phone, look at it quick, and get ourselves to the airport because we were about to do a grand opening of a mall somewhere in America Friday night and Saturday. So we had the pleasure of doing that for years. And then 1979, my wife became pregnant, and Mr. Cathy said, "Okay, it's time to slow down. Where do you think a store fits you?" So the closest store to home was Greensburg, Pennsylvania. We grew up in State College, Penn State. So that's where that came full circle. And many of my friends today, all these years later, 40 some years later, are still Chick-fil-A executives, retired, still there. So
Wow, that I want to stop here because there's a lot of people, and myself included, where they have these big dreams and these things. I want to start a franchise, or I want to do this, or start my own business, and oftentimes they don't, right? And this is why I love having folks like you on here, because you just worked hard, you put yourself in the right position, and you follow values, and that was the kind of the foundation, right? That put you where you're at today. You know,
I have failed though, Mike, along the way. So never trust a man that doesn't have a limp. So uh, I've tried a few things that fell flat on their face. Some of them big failure, and some of them smaller. But it's all worked out in the end, I would say.
well, since we're on the subject, if you don't mind, not to put you on the
Yeah.
spot, but that's what I do. What are some tips that you can give folks out there, whether they're starting up, they're scaling up, hitting a new level, that you've learned in this vast career? What are some pointers that you can give out that, hey, this could help you not fall off the cliff in failure? Like, what are some pointers that we can use to reframe failure?
Well, it's pretty common, but that makes it unique, right? So, first would be to your own self be true. What are your values? What are your personal values? And then will that business or that employer or that partner match up? And I recall having several partners that I would counsel them and say, when you get a partner, you get a wife, you get kids, you get all of that all together. Especially if you're not a public company as you go, but as you're an entrepreneur. So you got to pick everything. And I'll give praise to Chick-fil-A again, because their motto was, when you were interviewed, they interviewed the family. They wanted to see how the kids act at the restaurant. They wanted to see how things went. And one of those early things, as you start your business, the very first person you hire is the most important person you're going to start with. So once you realize you can afford to not be a jack of all trades and start to hire experts into your business, those first few hires are absolutely critical. And I can think back again to that Chick-fil-A model. 46 years later, there's still people at our company, our app, CEO zones that worked at Chick-fil-A right up from junior high, high school, college, maybe went out somewhere, came back, and then 46 years later, retired from the executive team. So those are the kind of things. Get those people around you, your inner circle, I guess I'll call it first.
Oh, I've got them. In fact, they found me. That's the funny part. I just went out there and just, yeah, and I remember saying, where am I going to get the folks and the people and all of this stuff? And, just on a whim and a prayer, they found me. And so, not to put words in the mouth, but what I hear you saying is you lead by example. You give a lot of grace because you want grace. And I think is that really what defined your early days to really hone in on the culture aspect of the CEO acronym?
Well, I'll make it even simpler. Hire the best people and build your business, and they will attract the best customers. And that was a poor misquote of also true at Kathy one day. We were somewhere and I was interviewing people, hiring people. And he said, Bill, just hire the best people and we'll have time. If we do the rest of this right, if we're the right leaders, we'll have time. They'll attract the best customers. So don't over panic about your business isn't the revenue you want. You do got to watch cash and have cash and create cash, but hire the best people is where I would leave that.
Well, I know look, the comments are bumping. I know folks are listening on the radio. Thank you for tuning in. Real quick, wanted to give a shout out to Mike King, Mike King Biz Radio on ESPN 106.1 FM RVA. Thank you, folks, for all you do. Love going international. They put Mike King on the Jumbotron. That's how he's adored during the basketball games. But I haven't got there yet, but he inspires me. And folks, look, Hounds of business community, building a business is hard. And what we've seen is that folks out there, they have a passion now more than ever to do something, right? Go out there and be the antidote to the things that you don't like or you think can be improved. And that's great, but most people won't realize that. They won't do that. You know why? Because they don't have the resources and support to do it. That's why the hounds exist. And for CEOs and executives, that's why CEO zones exist. So if you're driving around, go to ceozones.com. All right, check that out. We're going to dive into it. And Bill, I want to dive into first the culture part, because that's you, right? If we look up culture, company culture in the dictionary, you might be in there. You should be. I'll write a letter to Webster. But on that note, in CEO zones, right, you emphasize that executives need to break free from the role myopia.
Mhm.
Can you explain that a little bit, right? And why is it important to organizational culture?
Well, as the CEO, which is who our app is built for, and that community of CEOs to CEOs, everyone has the word clarity. Make sure every single individual in the organization has a clear to-do list. Does their action and their results, does that add up to make the organization even better? And all those different individual things. But where you can get caught up is make sure as an individual that the goals you're achieving, the outcomes you were asked to get, and then you get them, are they adding to the greater good of the whole organization? So it's kind of like nearsighted, farsighted, if you will. You can be down, have your head down in the cubicle doing your job, and realize the company went bankrupt around you 2 weeks ago, but you kept showing up doing your job. That is not what we want to do with our leaders. We want to teach people, raise people, leaders developing leaders. That's where I come from a culture point of view. And you need to know why they came into the office, and maybe they don't smile that one day a week. What's going on at home? How can we help them? So if we help them, they'll help us, and sooner or later we'll get there. So
Now, now, wait a minute. That's not just some tactic you learned to improve the bottom line in the culture. That's something you actually believe in. That's a big
uh,
distinction there, right? That's not
I
an
hope
act.
that's the way we do it. Yes. If your kid's sick, we got to take care of that because you're not going to be there. A former partner of mine, Steve Bowen, the author of Becoming Invaluable, uh, when we sold our consulting company, he wrote that book with Dr. Terry Lyles. But together, he would say, if you don't have your health, you can't really do good work, right? Because how's good work going to come out of that? And we'd have that little bit of argument because I'm chubby and old and whatever. But he's a lean, mean fighting machine, and I was the anchor that kept the boat from going too fast. So, in any event, got to have your health. That's not just in your employees, but that's in the family of the employees. And health could be everything from financial to it's flu season. So,
It, I heard it. I don't know where it came from. I know I didn't make this up, but they talked about transactional versus transformational leadership, right? And
mhm,
I love the way it said it. It said, when the cat's away, the mice will play. That's the typical transactional leadership. Uh,
mhm,
the other alternative is, it reminds me of you, when the cat's away, the mice do what the cat wants them to do because they have the same vision and they're on the same team. They really care. They have ownership in that, right? And I
right.
love that. I love that story because you don't have to say it, right? You don't have a mission statement hanging on the wall that no one knows about or really cares about, right? This is an actual transformation of the people, how you respond to them. And not to go on a soapbox, Bill, but I remember, I'm not going to say the company, humongous company. Everybody knows who it is. There was one supervisor on the front lines. Never had a problem. Everybody else had problems, right? We had union issues and grievances. He was cool. If you needed to go, hey, go ahead and go. So when people needed to get things done in the crunch time, guess who always delivered fast? Yeah, he didn't enforce it. He wasn't a policeman, and he was a guy. We wanted to see him win. Right? Do you see that that's really the transformational type of thing that makes businesses stand out, right?
Right. And I'd also say that's individual ownership, not necessarily equity, but ownership. They know their job, they're going to do a good job. And when they don't, you need to figure out what broke down because it was probably the leader's fault. Didn't have the right tools. You gave them a pen and they should have had a piece of chalk so they could erase it every once in a while. You gave them the wrong color flare, whatever it might be. It's the leader's job to give people the right tools, which we're struggling with one of those in our AI area at CEO zones. But we're going to get that figured out because we have good people that know what they're doing.
It sounds like, it's servant leadership, right? That's really the style. I mean, you're really here to serve, not to just be served. Your job is to equip and lead by example. And, when you do that from a place of authenticity, it works. I'll lead a community. Boy, that's like herding cats. I mean, it's just insanity. But you also have a community, right? So that tell us a little bit about it. I want to get to the execution part of this, but let me pull this up. I want folks out there, CEO Zones, ZONES.com, CEO Zones.com. And I want to show people that's how gracious Bill is. So go ahead and tell us about that. Who does it serve? What is the purpose behind it? I love the backstory if you don't mind sharing that from your flight. I tell that
Oh,
story. So tell us about CEO Zones and who it helps and why.
right. Well, it should help CEOs. The consulting companies I work for, we worked with the billion to 5 billion was kind of a sweet spot of revenue of CEOs and transformation around their supply chain. Uh, Naturally, we had larger clients, had some smaller clients, but that was the sweet spot. I still have one old client left from that company that Steve and I were able to sell to SGS. And that client is about 20, I guess he's around 30 billion now. So as they continue to grow. But what you're looking at there are content partners. And those are people, our Founders Club content partners are the 15-ish people that I emailed. That's Basil from Sydney, Australia. But the 15 original content partners, I emailed them and said, hey, I'm thinking about this. Would you be interested? And it ended up that before I got off the plane that I had many articles and a couple books that had not been published. I do know the numbers, but I don't want to misquote it, so we'll leave the numbers alone. But it was kind of like my idea sprung into reality. So that's what happened there from the content partner side. So they provide us content, whether it be books, articles, videos, articles on very specific things that CEOs are working on. One of our content partners, Dr. Madupe Taylor Pierce, worked with Steve Bowen and myself at Main Point, moved back to his home in Sierra Leone and created Breakfast Club Africa. So that is a consulting firm, kind of like a vestige of Africa, from Northern Africa down to the border of South Africa. He's elected not to do business there in South Africa, but all of the other countries. And he has a passion for creating leaders who are young leaders because he sees that Africa will have the largest population and the opportunity to become a powerhouse, and he wants to be decades ahead of it. So that's part of his vision. So our content partners are all very passionate about who they are and what they want to do. And I wouldn't call them lazy. They all have a pretty large goal. Another one of our content partners has the goal to lead with leadership examples to over 100 million people within 15 years. So I hang around some people who have some pretty healthy goals, is the bottom line of that. In the center of the screen that you're on there, another healthy goal would be we're about the leader, not just leadership. So that little news article there about Carter Scarachi, he is the Penn State wrestler that has won 4 NCAA championships, and he's on a undefeated season, headed for to be the only ever 5 NCAA champion, 5-year champion, 5 in a row. He'll happen to be here in the neighborhood Sunday, February 2nd, teaching junior high and high school kids how to be as good as he is someday. So those are the kind of things we like to do at CEO Zones. Provide content so CEOs can do it better. Inside the app, we have a CEO Plus, which is an AI tool that Alexandria built for us and uses ChatGPT in the background, but it's built to give you sample questions around how can you help culture in your organization, how can you get better execution and results. And results aren't just EBITDA, that's all the areas of results. And then how do you optimize that? So everyone's there. And I see Kevin Smith's comment flashed up on the screen. We have a generosity zone there. And Kevin is one of those people that's out trying to make kindness worldwide. And you two together, you and Mike, Kevin, really do that well. And Kevin has a new music interest. We're having breakfast with Claire Global on Friday morning, or I am Kevin. And then next Friday, I'll see you. But we're going to get ahead of that and see if we can't get your second thing going with you and Peter. But CEO Zones is all about the life of a leader, not just leadership. And I'm very honored to have a small team that I really trust, which is why they go off and do their things. Occasionally, I get frustrated and might become a little micromanager, but I'm trying not to. So,
We'll give you grace. Hey, all the positive things that you bring, folks, and the hard attitude behind it, Bill. We'll let you go, man. You can mess up a little bit. You can be a little micromanagey if you like, brother.
well,
Um,
that's you saying that. They're not raising their hand.
yeah, yeah. They said this guy's by himself. He speaks for himself. That's okay. I'm used to it. But my goodness, I can't even get through the comments. These folks. What impresses me most about you and the folks that you surround yourself with, ultra high level folks, very accomplished, but it's how you do it, why you do it. You reach out to me and other folks just because you can. You always explore things before you say yes and no to things. There's just a soft skills can't be overstated here. I want people to be encouraged. If you're a good person and you're working on yourself and you're out there just trying to bring value and be real, these things can happen. You will get into people's radar like this because you remember when you were just all passion and no clue, right? Like back in the day, like I remember that. I'm still that way and halfway. And I just have a soft spot for people who they want to do it. They just don't know how to do it. And so even with CEOs, right? Executives and CEOs who want the edge, they want to be surrounded by folks that, they can really push them up and come up with this innovation that you guys do so well and naturally. That's the calling card. That's my perspective. Anything you'd like to add? Because I know you have some structural changes to CEO zones. Is there anything you'd like to share out there so folks can tap in?
Well, we're always getting better, which is good. But I guess I'll say that for anyone who is a CEO or a business owner that would like to join CEO Zones, we are free. It's a free membership. You go to ceozones.com. Top right corner, there's a little orange with white print I believe it says apply for membership. You cut and paste in your LinkedIn profile. It checks out. Make sure you are who you say you are. You can answer a couple questions. There's some voluntary, some mandatory, actually, but it is free through midnight, January 31st. On Saturday morning, when you wake up, February 1st, it will be $249 a year. And my team has allowed me to say that everybody pile in quick while it's free. I'm going to make the commitment to my wife. We have this big goal to break even. We're not necessarily trying to create something. We have a great grandson, and I'm pretty sure he'll be fine. So at 2, I'm pretty sure he'll get to go to college and things like that. So in any event, Saturday morning, February 1st, when you wake up, it will cost $249 a year. There's a 30-day trial at that point, but anybody that gets in before that, we're going to make it free to you for the whole calendar year 2025. And Alexandria, if I did that wrong, smack me later.
Yeah. I have an Alexandria. I have a few of them. Boy, they keep us going. Thank you for all your hard work, Alexandria. So I knew this was going to happen. We need to have 50 more of these. We'll have you back on the HLB flagship show here soon. But just in the last minute, Bill, um, 49 years of marriage, right? Numerous business successes. You're not even close to stopping, right? What legacy do you hope to leave through CEO zones and, the CEO framework?
I guess 2 things come to mind. This might not be the well thought out answer, but 2 things come immediately to mind. And one would be we're about leaders, not just leadership, even though we have Major General Gronsky as pretty famous for his leadership as a content partner. So we'd like to help you around your whole life. So in the app, there's all types of skill sets and all types of content partners around everything around life. And the second would be CEOs who are developing the next succession of CEOs. Because as we get better at kindness worldwide, as we get better at culture and taking care of our people, it's going to be that succession, just like we're on the 3rd generation of CEOs at Chick-fil-A, and they're doing it even bigger and better, right? So that's what we want to do at CEO Zones, create bigger and better CEOs.
Well, I appreciate you. Tiffany Joy Green came in. She is also on Mike King Biz Radio on the ESPN channel. Thank you. And Bill, I just wanted to say from me personally, and on behalf of the Hounds, we appreciate you, greatly appreciate you, who you are. And, this snowball of positivity, compound effect with Kindness Worldwide, Kevin Smith, all the above. We truly appreciate you and who you are. And everybody out there driving around, hey, ceozones.com. Go check it out and don't wait, right? We don't. He's giving you all a freebie here, man. Take it, all right? So we appreciate you. Wanted to give a shout out to Mike King. Hey, Mike King, you're the man. We appreciate this opportunity to reach people across the globe. Huge impact. Thank you, my friend. Hounds, friends of the Hounds. Hey, reach out. Let's have a conversation, right? And if I'm not the fit for you, or Bill and CEO Zones isn't the fit for you, hey, we might be able to point you in the right direction. We want to see people win. We want to see you live your full potential and make the world a better place through your business. So without further ado, we're going to cut it off. But man, I hate this. We'll have you back, Bill. Appreciate you. All right.
Thank you, Mike. It was fun.
Always a blast, my friend. So I will. I don't remember who's on next week. I've got so many amazing guests. Just show up, same time, same channel, guys. Appreciate you a million. Hounds of Business on YouTube. Y'all have a good day. Appreciate you showing up with us. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.